Hello everyone, I hope you're having a wonderful day. My name is Dante White, and this is the start of my senior project update video series. Now to start us off, my senior project is actually working on video games, or the creation of my own personalized RPG game using RPG Maker MV. To start us off here, I've got it simply listed as Project 2 right now. I'll rename it later, and we're just going to start by clicking on here, and it'll show everything that I've been working on so far. This room is supposed to be the player's sort of home room, where they start out. You see all these different little things sitting in the room, like the bed, the bookshelves, the book on the table, dressers, etc. And a couple more areas in the game that the player can access. I'd like to start off this video by showing the progress I've made building the rooms and then walk you through the process of actually building your own section of the map. And we're going to start by clicking on this blank white space here under the term facility right here. Just double click right there, hit new, and it gives us the general settings for creating our own map, including the name, the tile set, if we want it to scroll or not. We're going to call this next room the meeting room. And we want it to be an inside room. And what this does is it pretty much just changes what kind of tiles you get to use here. We're going to keep it consistent with the rest of the place and have it set to inside. And these over here, these just mess with the dimensions of the room. We can make the room a little less wide, make it a little more tall, however you feel like messing with your room. We're going to hit OK, and now we have a blank canvas to work with. Now the first thing you're going to want to do is hit this top left button over here, this little square, this quadrilateral here with the green and the brown. And suddenly all those little lines disappeared. We'll get back to that in a minute. But this is how you start setting tiles. Usually what you want to do is highlight this little pencil option here and then scroll through your tiles here to decide what kind of mapping you want to use. Of course, there's more than just that. There are all kinds of obstacles and accessories you can use to decorate the map, but let's start with the flooring for now. I want to stay consistent with everything I've worked on thus far, so I'm going to be looking for this tile piece here to fill up this room here. And we found it right here. And here we go. We've started setting up the tiles for our room. But this could end up taking a while, so fortunately for us, they have this nice little rectangular shape here that lets us just fill in a lot of spaces at once. Make sure we got it all. There we go. So now we've got the floor set up for our map. Let's get some walls in here. Similarly to with these rooms, I'm going to use this kind of darker gray wall, and we're going to be adding some brighter blue roofing to make the room feel more realistic. Because you're not just going to walk down a hallway, enter a room with no walls, right? That'd be, unnatural. So we're going to take our wall here, and we're going to spread it out some. Of course, the room doesn't have to be too big. We can always, change the measurements for it later. And here we have our walls. To make this a bit more realistic, we're going to put some roofing. And of course, there's no real, absolutely right way to go about this. It all comes to, the player's discretion, like how they feel they should go forward with the project. That being said, I'm going to fill all of this up. And of course, if you just don't like the proportions for your room, you think it's too big, you can just right click here on meeting room, hit edit, and you can change the height of the room, say to 10 blocks to get rid of some of that empty space. And it trims it down for you. So we're going to fill in some of this here. And we'll close in some of this over here so that you have a one-way entrance. That being the case, this is supposed to be a meeting room, so what's a meeting room without a table or a desk where everybody can, stand around and talk? So we're going to go through our list of tiles here and see if we can't find a suitable table for us. What about this one? See, this works. So now we've got ourselves a nice table here. If you want to move it around, you can just mess with the tile settings some more. Make it bigger if you want. We got ourselves a nice table here. Let's see if we can get some chairs around the table. Here we go. Place a couple chairs around here so, people can talk about what they found, discovered, etc. Room's still looking a little dull, so let's add ourselves a bookshelf in here. Put it over here in the corner, out of harm's way, but still, close enough for people to get to. Maybe they can, keep their research here or something. And then, if you feel like it, you can do whatever you'd like to spruce it up some more and maybe add some documents on the table, make it feel more sophisticated. Add some scrolls here. Dress it up nice so it'll be, like, the more detailed it is, the better it is. That's how I feel about it anyway. But for the sake of simplicity, we'll leave the room like this. Unfortunately for us, this isn't enough to get the result we're trying to get here, because the software itself doesn't really know the point of this room because there's nothing connecting it to the rest of the building. That's where these little squares come in. These are actually called event blocks, and you use these events to progress through the game, give your characters choices, etc. They're a very important factor to the game, how it works, moving forward, progressing, and whatnot. So to put these events in the game, what we're going to want to do is hit this little red joystick kind of thing here. You see it's called events if you hover over it for long enough, and it puts those lines that we had on earlier in the video back on the map. This is what lets you place the events that, move around your characters and whatnot. So going here to the meeting room, we're going to want to double click on this square and this menu pops up. You'll want to double click up here, go over to number 2, and you'll want to hit transfer player. This is the coordinates for the room right now. We're going to want to change those because they wouldn't want you to just send you right back to the same place. And we're going to want to move it from here to over here because this room is what connects to the meeting room. We'll just place it right here. Double click there, and now you see the name has changed. And over here you can decide if your character is facing the same direction when they go through, if the screen fades to black or white, etc. We're going to hit OK. And something important you want to make sure you're doing, the trigger and the priority. For me, I find that the same as the character works the best for me. And I feel as if it's a little more realistic for when the player to touch it, that it just sends you to the next room as the game detects that's what you want to do. Leaving it at walking for right now is good. And we're going to go ahead and hit apply. You have to make sure you hit apply beforehand or the game won't save it. So hit OK, and now you see you've got this gray square sitting here. So when you step on it, it should take you to this room here. But how do you get from this room to that room if there's no gray squares here? It's easy. We're just going to do the same thing, but reverse over here. Transfer player to the meeting room. Make sure you change the priority, the trigger, have it set to walking, apply OK. And as you can see here, I have all kinds of events here. None of them really teleport the player or move them in any direction, just funny little dialogue and whatnot to make the game a bit more interactive. That being the case, we should be done with our updates for right now. Let's dive into it and see if everything works properly. To do that, we just want to hit this button up here in the top right. It's our playtest button. It'll ask you if you want to save your changes, which is very important in game developing. You hit that, and our little title screen will play. Of course, the game comes with a little bit of music. I hope that's not too loud in editing. If this is your first time working with it, you want to hit new game, but seeing as I've already started working on it, we're just going to hit continue. It'll ask you which file you want to load. I've only got one right now, so we're just going to go with this one. And here we are, the basis for the game, right? Just like everything was in the editing. Of course, there's dialogue options and whatnot. All kind of interactables. Those are still the events. And as you remember seeing over here, we've got this gray square. It just moved us from this part of the map to this part of the map. So if I go and walk on one of these gray squares, they'll take us back to this room. And what do you know they do? So we're going to go back through here. This time we're going to hit these gray squares. And if I did everything right, then the gray square here should connect with the gray square here. And I should be able to move between these two rooms. Let's give it a try. And voila, it works like a charm. So that's pretty much it for today's update video. I'm hoping to put out another one soon based off of character creation and delving a little bit more into details based on the events. But I'd like to thank you again for checking this out, and I'll see you guys next time.